All right, today we're doing something a little different. We've managed to get our hands on what is essentially the internal briefing for a massive new waterfront project in Dubai. So this isn't about the glossy ads, this is the actual playbook. We're going to go behind the curtain and see exactly how a multi-billion-dollar dream gets built and, more importantly, how it gets sold. Let's unpack this thing, slide by slide.
So here's the game plan. First, we're going to look at the big, audacious vision. What's the dream they're selling? Then we'll dig into the master plan. How are they actually building the foundation for that dream? We'll see how the project is changed in a tale of two phases before we get to the main event, the launch of this thing called Marina Place. After that, it's all about the numbers and the investment case. And finally, the real masterstroke, creating that sense of urgency with a closing window of opportunity. It's a journey from way up high right down to the ground floor.
First up, the big idea. Look, when you're creating a community from scratch on a prime piece of coastline, you can't just sell apartments. You have to sell a complete vision. You have to sell a dream. And the very first step in this briefing is to make that vision sound unbelievably ambitious. And right there, that's where the strategy kicks in. By dropping names like Sydney Harbour and Cape Town, they're not just setting a high bar, they're basically borrowing credibility. It's a brilliant psychological shortcut. It immediately frames the project not as just another Dubai marina, but as a future global icon. The goal is to create this super yacht hub that feels prestigious and established before a single break is even laid. A place where, as they pitch it, the super rich can just park their yacht and walk home. I mean, what a powerfully evocative way to start. Okay, so that vision immediately brings up this massive question. It's one thing to say Sydney Harbour, right? It's a whole other thing to actually build it. That kind of dream needs a very real foundation of concrete, of steel, and just meticulous planning, huge infrastructure and seamless connectivity. So let's see how they plan to pull it off. Behind every huge vision, there has to be an equally huge plan. In this section, we're getting into the nuts and bolts, the infrastructure and the community framework that's being built to actually support the lifestyle they just promised. And it all starts with one of Dubai's most precious commodities, time. This one number, it's a cornerstone of the entire pitch, 15 minutes. That is the promised travel time to both the international airport and to downtown Dubai. Now, in a sprawling city like Dubai, where your commute can literally define your quality of life, this is an absolute game changer. It promises the impossible. You get that serene seaside living, but without the isolation. It's a huge strategic advantage, but it's a bold claim. So how do they back that up? This is how, with billions of dollars in brand new infrastructure. The source material talks about these massive, dedicated flyovers being built. We're not talking about adding a lane here. This is about re-engineering the city's main arteries to create a signal-free expressway, straight from the main highway, Sheikh Zayed Road, directly to this new marina. This investment in concrete and steel is what lets them confidently say this is, and I'm quoting here, the most connected seafront destination in Dubai. It is all about removing friction. So, and this is crucial, this is so much more than just a bunch of apartment buildings. A master plan on this scale, 1 million square meters, is, for all intents and purposes, a small town. The fact that they're including 3 hotels, a school, healthcare, and all this retail, it's not just about adding amenities. It's a strategy. It's about creating a totally self-sufficient ecosystem. The idea is that residents won't even need to leave for their daily lives, which just reinforces that exclusive resort-like feel. Now, a project this big doesn't just pop up overnight. It's being built in very distinct stages, and if we look closely, the evolution from Phase 1 to Phase 2 actually tells a pretty fascinating story. It shows how the developer is refining and even expanding the entire identity of this place. Let's put them side by side. This slide really nails the strategic shift. On one side, you have Phase 1, which is already sold out. Its whole identity was built around this intimate boutique resort feel, and it was all defined by that really unique 800-meter swimmable canal pool. It was all about exclusivity. Now look at Phase 2. The scale is just grander, way more expansive. The focus shifts to public green spaces, to parks, and a really vibrant promenade. In the briefing, they actually compare the vibe they're going for to London's South Bank, a lively, cultural, walkable public space. This is a deliberate pivot from a private resort to a true public destination.
Okay, so with that context, the grand vision, the 2 different phases, we can now zoom in on the main event of this briefing, the launch of a specific project inside the new, grander Phase 2. Let's take a look at Marina Place.
The pitch for Marina Place is pure lifestyle. It's all about creating spaces that sell that dream. You've got rooftop lounges for hanging out, that stunning infinity pool looking right over the marina, and they also really emphasize the outdoor gym and kids' play areas. They mention over 14 amenities on the podium level. That's the shared community floor, usually just above the ground level shops, plus boutique retail right at your doorstep. The message is simple: modern, convenient luxury where everything you could possibly need is just an elevator ride away. And here's the actual product, broken down by the numbers. We're looking at 2 low-rise buildings. And as you can see from this table, the inventory is very intentionally limited. I mean, just look at the 3-bedroom units, often the most sought-after ones for families. There are only 12 in the first building and 21 in the second. That is just 33 of them in total for this whole launch. This is a really crucial pivot in the pitch. They've sold you the dream, and now they're showing you just how few pieces of that dream are actually available. It's a classic scarcity play. All right, let's move to the money and see how this all builds up. Because beyond the lifestyle and the amazing views, every developer needs to make a really compelling financial case for their investors. The section breaks down the core arguments they're using to prove that this isn't just a great place to live, it's a smart place to put your money. This is such a powerful, attention-grabbing number. The developers are claiming that properties in this area have already appreciated by 50% in just 3 years. Now, what's so clever about this claim is that it's all based on the off-plan market. That means sales happening before the community is even fully built out. The implied message to investors is incredibly powerful. Look at the growth that's already happened on paper. Can you even imagine what's going to happen when this place is finished and buzzing with life? This chart right here is the visual centerpiece of their entire financial argument. Let's break it down. Look at that first bar. That's the launch price for their 3-bedroom apartment, starting at 4.3 million dirhams. Okay, now look at the second bar. That's a similar apartment, just 2 kilometers down the road, which they say is already trading for 12 million. The visual gap is designed to hit you immediately. The argument couldn't be simpler. Buy from us at this price because the established market right next door suggests it could one day be worth that price. It's a very powerful visual promise of potential profit. And to make that investment just a little bit easier, here's the payment plan. You put down 10% to secure the unit. The really important part is the next 70%, which you pay during construction. The source material really emphasizes that this isn't just a random monthly payment. It is tied to specific construction milestones. That is a key detail designed to de-risk the investment for you. You only pay for the next stage when they can prove they've completed the last one. You know, a foundation is poured, a floor is completed. It just builds confidence that your money is tied to real, tangible progress, especially when they mention they have a track record of delivering ahead of schedule. And now we get to the final and maybe the most powerful part of the whole pitch. After they've established the vision, the lifestyle, and the financial case, the entire narrative now pivots to urgency. It's all about convincing potential buyers that this opportunity is not going to be around forever. And there it is, the knockout punch. This is the last shoreline master plan in Dubai. Now, whether that is verifiably 100% true is almost beside the point. As a marketing statement, it is unbelievably powerful. The message shifts from simple scarcity to ultimate finality. They're framing this not just as the last chance to buy in this development, but as the last chance ever to buy into a brand new community of this type. It reframes a simple property purchase as a legacy investment in a truly finite asset, the Dubai coastline itself. And this timeline is the proof they offer that the window is absolutely slamming shut. I mean, look at the pace. 2022, Phase 1 launches and sells out. Fast forward to this year, the first buildings of Phase 2 are gone in just 2 months. Based on that velocity, their projection is that the entire 1 million square meter community will be totally sold out by the end of 2025. The message is just this drumbeat of momentum, designed to create a powerful fear of missing out. You hesitate, and it's gone. And so we end right here with this final thought-provoking question. It perfectly captures the entire story we've just unpacked, from that grand vision of a new Sydney Harbour to the detailed planning, the lifestyle promise, and that urgent call to action. By framing the entire project against the absolute unchangeable limit of Dubai's geography, the developers position it as a truly unique and fleeting chance. It leaves the potential investor with one very compelling thought. If not now, then when? And if not here, then where?